Hi,
Basically, oh, great.
John.
Hi, Dervla.
How are you?
I'm amazing. Thank you so much. It's really good to see you.
You too.
And you're joining us from Hong Kong. I love the background that you have there, and it's real. Oh, we just lost her for a moment.
Got you back.
Oh, there you are. Thank you. So everyone, Dervla is an incredible digital entrepreneur. She was one of our original alumni from back in 2014, 2015, has been on multiple Chōsen experiences in different locations, everywhere from Bali to Guatemala. But what I wanted to do is actually have Dervla introduce herself and have her tell her own story about what she's been going through over the past few years. And just tell us a bit about yourself, Dervla, as an entrepreneur and all around badass.
Thanks for having me, John. Nice to see you again virtually.
Yeah.
So I'm Dervla. I am a wellness travel expert and the founder of Compare Retreats. I'm also a lifestyle journalist. I contribute to publications like Tatler. I used to work at Tatler. I contribute to publications like Vogue in Hong Kong. And then what else do you want to know? I mean, I have two gorgeous rescue dogs in Hong Kong and one lovely furry pup in Ireland. And I have accidentally kind of become a home baker with a little botanical bakery business in Hong Kong while COVID has been raging.
Well, see, this is what I love about you is you actually are talking about founding this digital business that was very passion driven right from the start. And then during COVID, you still have your entrepreneurial hat on and have created a bakery, an in-house bakery. Tell us how that's been going for you and how that's helped you through this process.
So when COVID restricted travel originally in March, I became very stressed and I didn't know how to cope with it actually. And I had not only were my own travel plans affected in that I couldn't go home to Ireland to see my parents, but my business was affected. So it was very much a mix of like this professional and personal crisis because of what was happening. And I have to say, I definitely felt a bit claustrophobic, not being able to go where I wanted, when I wanted, whenever I felt like it. And this came out, like, I don't know how it happened, but my husband woke up one morning and he was surrounded by about 15 cakes in the kitchen. And he was like, I didn't even know you could bake. Are you okay? And I was like, I don't know if I'm okay. And he was like, who's going to eat all the cake? So I started sending them out to literally all my friends or like my friends' husbands who like ate sugar if they didn't eat sugar. And it just kind of escalated until one day that disastrous bomb went off in Lebanon. Not a bomb, but the explosion happened. And
Yeah.
I had a cousin from Lebanon who was fundraising already for people in Lebanon, even before this crisis happened. And she just sent me her GoFundMe page, and she was like, she sent it to our Luli family chat. And she was like, can everyone just donate like $100? So I donated 100 US. And then I was kind of like, do you need more? And she was like, yeah, we could. And I said, maybe I'll do a one-off bake sale and so I started doing these botanical pavlovas with edible flowers. And I thought I might get like 3 orders. And because I priced them on the higher end.
As you do, you're raising money for Lebanon.
Exactly. And like 20 orders came in. And so Alistair woke up again 2 months later. The whole house was surrounded in pavlovas and flowers. and he's like, is there something you want to tell me? And I was like, I think I accidentally started a business, like without meaning to. But it came from a really beautiful place, which was trying to help others. And everyone in Hong Kong really, really wanted to help and give back. So that's kind of how I ended up being surrounded by pavlovas and flowers this year.
That's amazing. And for the people that are not from Hong Kong that are joining us today live or going to be watching this video live, Dervla and I both met each other in Hong Kong and share a love for the city, partly because of how incredibly, well, first of all, welcoming the city is, but also how incredibly multicultural it is. And, you know, Dervla, you're like myself, you're a bit of a third culture kid. How did you arrive to a place where you were already doing work for Lebanon before contact with people in Lebanon before the crisis hit at the docks there? And how would you actually describe how supportive everyone was in Hong Kong during this experience?
So the important thing to remember is we're already in the middle of a crisis. People's businesses, people's personal life, our entire lives all over the world have been turned upside down, had been turned upside down. And I did not expect people in Hong Kong to maybe really resonate with what had happened in another country, because I understand that everyone is dealing with their own crisis right now. A few years ago, I worked with an amazing chef in Hong Kong called Maria, who owns Pomegranate Kitchen. And anyone in Hong Kong will know her. She's the hostess with the mostess, makes the best Lebanese food. And we collaborated to do something with 7 other chefs in Hong Kong to do something called Cook for Syria, an initiative started by Serena Gwen of Suitcase Magazine. And that was with UNICEF Next Gen. And so when the bomb went off, Maria was posting a lot of stuff, and I was like, we were talking about it. So I was already very aware, and I grew up in Saudi Arabia. I am half Egyptian. When things happen in the Middle East, I get very upset about it. I have cousins who are from Lebanon. I have an aunt from Lebanon. So it was something that I personally really resonated with. And I just said, you know, there is that saying that one person can make a difference. And John, I really believe it. But I also think you can post something on your Instagram. And I think if you're going to have social media, you should use it for a good cause. And unfortunately maybe unfortunately or fortunately, but personally, I am very driven by things that make me feel good. That includes giving back. That includes helping others. So it was never about making a business that made money. It was always about, can we kind of create a bit of a buzz, fundraise a lot of money, and make sure it gets to the right people. And Hong Kong is full of people that want to give back. It is just, if you know, word of mouth, it spread very, very quickly. But what I did was tiny. But I think I'll probably do another one at the end of the month. But Hong Kong is just, it's full of, I find, quite positive people that do want to support really good causes and are looking for ways to help others.
Yeah. I think you touched on something that, you know, you and I have been talking about for years now. And you're in the wellness space, Chōsen is in the wellness space. And we've gone about it in a completely different way than a conventional, softer wellness business. You know, we're driven by performance, by neuroscience. Olympians are great friends of ours. They're part of our programming team. It always comes down to a why for me. And why are we doing this? You know, we're trying to like optimize ourselves, have peak performance, but does it really matter if there's not a why? And this is what I love about what you do, Dervla, is that you have right now, just in conversation without being prompted about it, you're talking about your why and that concept of ikigai, what drives you, and even what drives you to treat yourself well, to optimize yourself, to take care of yourself so that you can actually give back to others. That really resonated with me, and I just want to commend you on that. That's something that, you know, strikes to the core of what we do at Chōsen, and I think you said it very eloquently. And I want to segue using that and kind of open the conversation up a little bit about your own experience as an entrepreneur this year, and, you know, crack it open for people who are, you know, like, I think there's a lot of stuff out there on the internet right now, on social media right now, where there's a lot of people trying to show a very positive face. And yes, we talk about positivity a lot and cultivating positivity a lot, but there's a root cause for it, right? So I want to actually speak to your resilience and how you have actually cultivated your resilience this year in one of the most challenging business environments. And, you know, for you in the travel side of wellness, tell us how you've coped and what you've done to build yourself back up.
I am naturally a very positive person. That being said, when things happen, like a global pandemic, and everything gets stopped in its tracks, obviously I have days where I'm like, oh, like, oh my God, what are we going to do? How can we do this? But
Mm-hmm.
what this entire situation has made me appreciate is, number one, kind of small daily progress. Number
Mm-hmm.
two, what do I really need to feel good physically and mentally? And for me,
Mm-hmm.
it boils down to a very, very small list that I work with a coach called Sanya Samtani in Hong Kong. She has a center called All About You. And she actually helped me with this list because initially the list was very, very strict and restrictive and very military. And she was like, this list needs to come from a happier place. So, and I don't mind sharing my list. So it is, the first one is actually have fun. So this is the daily list. Okay. So number one, have fun.
Awesome.
It was not on my list before. Sonia put that on. She was like, this does not sound like fun. So number one
Shout
is
out
have
to Sonia.
fun.
Good job. Yeah.
The second one is for me, it's morning movement. I realize that if I don't physically move and I'm not active in the morning, I don't feel very well. It's eat vegetables and protein, which we all know.
Yeah.
It's rest. So that used to be get 8 hours sleep a night, which is very military in wording. And Sonia works with me doing NLP training. So it's like, how do we talk to ourselves? It's like, no one wants to hear go to bed at 10 p.m. Like, I don't want to hear that. So we change that to rest. So rest. And that can be going to bed early. That can be sleeping in. That can be naps, just making sure you're rested. And then journal. I mean, I didn't realize how important it is for me to put pen to paper. I'm not military about it. And then I do something before I go to sleep, which is and these are all things that I try to do. I'm not saying I hit this list every day, but they're kind of my bare minimums for feeling good. I try to visualize what the next day is going to look like.
This is amazing.
And I try and, John, like I have my personal thing that I personally struggle with the most is that I am very, very sensitive to certain food and beverage. So I am very, very sensitive to anything that's processed, anything with sugar, anything with like alcohol. I can do a little bit of vodka. And every so often I kind of try to override that and I ignore it. And I'm like, oh no, I can have the whatever it is. And my body is just like, no, you can't. So for me, actually this year I've been working, and my trainer at Ultimate Performance is a wonderful gentleman called Joseph. And I do strength training with him. And I have to say, like, having that, and I've actually just added in training with a trainer from Gorilla Strong called Muck, who literally stands at the top of the stairs in Robinson and makes me sprint up and down them. Because why not? What else are we doing this year? We should be focusing on kind of trying to stay fit and healthy. If COVID has taught us everything, it's actually, preventative measures do work. If you have a strong immune system, if you are strong physically, like hopefully you can fight the virus. And I've seen my own wellness choices impact like our own household, even some friends, some family in Ireland. My dad is now eating much better as well. I just sent him for his birthday the Ottolenghi box with plenty and plenty more to make vegetables exciting.
Yeah.
So
that's exciting.
Like that is how I have been coping as an entrepreneur and as a human being. I've been focusing very simple, and I'll be very candid. When COVID really hit, we had to make a lot of changes. We got rid of our office. Our senior editor got a fabulous position at CNN. She moved, her assistant took over, and I was sitting in the floor of my apartment and my husband was telling me it was going to be okay. And it was really hard. It was really, really, really hard as someone who is growing a business in the middle of a seed fundraising round
Hmm.
to realize that all this growth that was supposed to happen wasn't going to happen. But as soon as I made those decisions, I actually felt like as soon as my business, I knew it could survive, like kind of the crisis, this weight, like, and as soon as I told my shareholders and they were very understanding about it, I felt like a weight had lifted off my shoulders.
Mm.
Because we have a preconceived idea that a successful business is a big business with a lot of people in a big office and we all want to be Facebook. But actually, a healthy business is more important than that. It's more important to have a healthy business that is sustainable, where you have very good, strong partners, that you work through it together, than having this big, unmanageable business with so much headcount and so much rent. And that's been a big learning curve for me.
Well, I think that's incredibly insightful, Dervla, and how you describe it. And you started the entire conversation about taking care of yourself first, and that's something that we've been pushing as a theme this year, even more so than before, right? You are your greatest asset, and I love that that's something that you are embracing and that you're holding on to. And then straight after that, the way that you describe having a sustainable business, having a healthy business. It started with your stakeholders, right? With the people that you have relationships with, and then you describe it from a place of good communication. So even that list, the way that you describe it is really beautiful, and it's something that we're trying to get across to our founders, to our VCs, to our partners, ourselves here at Chōsen, is you're your greatest asset. Healthy business, not big business. Healthy relationships, healthy communication. And I think you just encapsulated it all. And I love that you arrived there even without prompting. And it's something that I think a lot of people can learn a lot from in this environment, And so
Thanks,
what
John.
I think is like the biggest learning for you, if you can encapsulate it in one thing that you took away from this year. And we're going to transition into some questions that we have some people ask in advance. And so if anyone does have questions for Dervla, go ahead and hit the question button, and then we'll cycle them. We have some that people had prepped before. But before that, Dervla, what's your biggest takeaway this year that you will hold on to for the rest of your life?
It's definitely that family is everything. Definitely. Like my family's health, my very, very close family, it's all I care about, John. And it's about, I think every country has taken different steps in order to protect different age groups in society, because this is a virus that affects older people and vulnerable people. And I do have to commend Hong Kong in that they have been stringent, but I feel like this is a safe place. And I think it has really taught me that it's about protecting other people, and it's about protecting those people that you love the most. So if you do have someone vulnerable in your family or someone who's elderly, like, wear the hazmat suit, wear the mask, don't go to the party with 150 people in it. So it's just, for me, it's been all about family, 100%. I'm hyper obsessed with my family's wellness right now and their well-being.
Amazing. I like that you come back to the things that are actually most important, and I think that's a lesson, that's a learning that you and I talked about before the call. It's what this is actually showing all of us is, our humanity. It's reintroducing us to the things that are most important. And I love those articles that come out every, decade or so, where someone interviews 2,000 people on their deathbeds, and it's never, like, what is your biggest regret? People never said, oh, wow, I wish I spent more time at work building Facebook. No, they say, I wish I worked less. I wish I spent more time with my family. And so I love that that's kind of like the theme here during COVID right now. I'm going to segue into a couple of questions for you. I know that while I do that, I know that you've attended a few Chōsen experiences in the past. And Chōsen has always been a bit about challenge
we're even playing around with this concept of defiance as a core theme at Chōsen Experiences. What was, during the 3 or 4 times that you attended, your biggest takeaway from the program? What hit you the most?
That the only way you're going to get over your fear of heights is jumping off a cliff into the water.
Metaphor for life.
No, but I was a bit scared of heights before I went, and I'll never forget, you brought us cliff jumping, and it was like no way am I going to jump, and then you jump. But I think what the biggest takeaway from Chōsen, I think the first retreat had the biggest impact on me. And John, I think it made me believe in myself a lot more than I had beforehand. It made me realize that I could do what I wanted to do and I could reach my goals. We have growing up, I don't know about you, but education was everything. I was always going to end up in my head as an investment banker, a lawyer, or a doctor. And I did the Masters of Finance, and I got into medical school, and I studied law, and I did all these things. And then I ended up doing work experience with them, and I was just like, this is not. So I feel like Chōsen helped me realize that you can define what success is to you, and 9 times out of 10, that's usually what's going to make you happy, and also make you feel secure as well. So I think Chōsen helped me redefine what success was, actually, which was very important.
Wow.
And not to care what anyone else thinks.
This is my soft clapping right there. That was amazing. No, I love how you describe that. And it's, seeing you grow after the first time that you attended, it's been really an amazing experience. We'll have to reach out to G, and I think he's in Dubai now, and send him a link to this conversation.
Oh my God,
he himself
that
has
interaction,
done crazy things. Yeah.
That interaction. So I'll share with anyone who's interested. I was having an apple after dinner, and it was 11 p.m. on my first Chōsen experience, and we were in this beautiful villa in Bali, and a very successful entrepreneur from Dubai, very successful.
You're right in the middle of a story about G, and he's absolutely amazing. Tell us about the insight that he shared with you at the end of dinner that one day.
I think you know the story, so I'm guessing you kind of finished it, but he basically told me that I should quit my job and start my own businesses and stuff. He's like, why are you working for other people? I was like, I thought that's what you did. And he was like, no, you don't have to do that. And I was like, I never thought about that as an option. My dad is a doctor. Entrepreneurship was not something that I had ever thought about. And so he actually just planted that little seed, which made me kind of was like, oh, well, I really feel if you see someone doing something, you're like, oh, well, maybe if they can do it, maybe I can do it. So that was interesting.
That's amazing. Well, I have a couple of questions for you before we round it back, but I think we can do a whole piece with Jihad. Maybe you, me, and G can sit down and have our a recorded Zoom call and make it a consistent piece. It's like T with G. I think that would be good. That would be amazing.
I like G.
Yeah, he's
amazing.
Nuts. I love that guy. So the last 2 questions, the last couple of minutes that we have together, Dervla. First and foremost, what advice would you give to entrepreneurs out there right now trying to start their own business amidst this madness?
If you need to scale back and do it quickly. You can always grow in response to market demand, and don't put off making difficult decisions, because they're really, really difficult, but they're don't procrastinate. Just do what you need to do now, and regroup. And the business that you had pre-COVID might look like a completely different business post-COVID. I never thought that I would be promoting staycations in Hong Kong, but lo and behold, that is what I am doing. So you need to be flexible.
Amazing. And this is a bit of not a loaded question, but it does relate to the things that we're talking about before, is what does living optimally mean to you?
It means my list, John. It's my list. We're going back to my list. So it's being happy, eating well, resting well, having fun, and moving every day. Like you need to work your body. You need to, I used to exercise for, I mean, don't get me wrong, we all like to look good, but I now exercise because I realize you've got one body. It's got to do a lot of work. We're living until we're a lot older now. So now I do weight training because I want really strong bones. And I know that it's, as a woman, it's very, very good to do strength training.
Yeah.
And I do hill sprints because they're good for my heart, because I want to feel fit, like, and they're good for me mentally. And I do find that what I do physically, if I work out and exert myself in the gym or outside, it can translate to doing supersets during work, if that makes sense, like getting through hard tasks and tackling them.
Amazing. I love it. We're going to do a write-up on this, and we're going to send it over to you as well. I think it'll be a lot of fun to actually continue on the process of communicating about entrepreneurship in this tough time, resilience, and basically this amazing openness that you showed us today. I want to say thank you. And we're really grateful.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. And so everyone, thank you so much. We're going to be sending out the write-up on this building entrepreneurial resilience in the time of COVID on the newsletter. So please have a read. It's going to be insightful and lovely, just like Dervla. Thank you so much, guys. And thank you so much, Dervla.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye now.